Are you justified in shooting an unarmed attacker? We'll be answering that question in just a minute with noted criminal defense attorney Tom Grieve. But stick around till the end of this video because we have a gun giveaway that you can enter absolutely free, and it ends pretty soon. Hi, I'm Kevin Michalowski, Director of Content for the U.S. Concealed Carry Association. Now, if you're new to this channel, I want you to know that we help you prepare for everything you'll encounter before, during, or after a deadly force incident. Now, let's get to this video and talk about, can you shoot an unarmed attacker?
Maybe.
Great. Great. That's the lawyer answer.
I mean, that's the lawyer answer. That's the safe lawyer answer.
Let's talk about a very graphic situation that happened recently in Chicago, that a man walking down the street approached another man and offered to sell him something. And when the homeowner refused to buy, the guy just attacked him and literally gouged his eyes out and bit his ears off. Now, I'm assuming that biting someone's ears off brings us to great bodily harm. That would be great bodily harm. In the news report, they said they found pieces of the ears in the driveway, but they could not reattach them. So that, to me, if somebody's biting my ears off, I think I'm drawing my pistol and trying to put some rounds into them.
Yeah, well, number one, you always have to check your local listings. So USCCA.com/laws is going to be a great way to familiarize yourself with the basics of different states' self-defense laws. So check your local listings. But as a general principle, if you're confronted with a deadly threat, you can typically employ deadly force to stop the threat, right? The question here is, what constitutes a deadly threat? And this is always the question that comes up when we're talking about an unarmed attacker. How do we know when an unarmed attacker turns into a deadly threat, in essence? And the law, unfortunately, is often not that great on giving us guidance on that. So sometimes, as here in Wisconsin, there's some lines that are drawn as far as, well, a deadly threat is when somebody is at a minimum doing deadly force against you or is committing deadly force against you. And deadly force generally is, force that could foreseeably kill you or produce great bodily harm, that magic term that you dropped about 30 seconds ago. What the heck is great bodily harm? Generally speaking, we're talking about loss of limb, disfigurement. It would seem to me that losing an ear would certainly qualify. The reason why you're sensing just a tiny bit of hesitation is because there's going to be a prosecutor out there and there's going to be a jury out there who, because this is almost a political issue, that they are going to say, you know what? Let's just, charge him with everything we've got. We'll see what sticks.
Yeah, and one of the things that I remember from the police academy is this, what we called officer subject factor, or what we'll call in the private citizen world, victim subject factor. So, if the guy is just walking out of a MMA gym and he's, 250 pounds and has just, learned the latest new grappling move, and he starts pounding on a 110-pound woman, those factors, that woman should reasonably believe that she's facing death or great bodily harm. Right. He could beat her to death.
Right.
And I guess I've often said over the years that the laws are intentionally vague so attorneys can argue the nuance of each case. Is that what we're looking at here?
Well, so in the scenario that you painted, I mean, look, you certainly put one where if I was going to bet one way or the other as to what the outcome is going to be, I'm going to bet that individual, especially if they've suffered some sort of serious injury, is going to be in a position to employ deadly force, right? Yeah. Let's just kind of start drawing some lines now. But likewise, when you've been in the justice system long enough, you've encountered prosecutors, you've encountered jurors and juries who they're not going to draw that line. And this is the reason why you need the proper education and training to help you understand where those lines are. Because otherwise, you're just out there like a fish in the sea, not understanding when you're in a dangerous territory and when you're not, and what can eat you and what can't. Yeah. So, yes, someone pounding on you, particularly after you've suffered a serious injury, you're going to be in as safe a water as you can get to use deadly force against an unarmed attacker. And let me be very clear. I'm not happy that both the laws as well as often the enforcement of the laws leads a professional like myself to have to equivocate and waffle as much as I do. But I do so because this is the truth. And this is how difficult of a subject this is. And I don't see it becoming any more clear. It's a difficult subject. It's one of those ones where jurors and prosecutors and judges and everyone is going to be bringing their own preconceived ideas and notions. And even though the defense attorney and the defense team or the prosecution as well may be bringing in a litany of use of force experts to talk about, well, here's kind of what the acceptable lines are ordinarily, and here's why they were crossed or not crossed, it's still going to be difficult to fight an uphill battle against the wrong juror or the wrong judge. So just understand that that's there. And that's the reason why I'm not saying never. I'm saying, number one, check your local listings. Know what the laws are. Number two, the best fight you can be in is the one that you've never been in the first place. In other words, identify the threat, get out of there, de-escalate, avoid, get away. Because it's not worth having to talk to a criminal defense attorney. It's not worth listening to plea offers being thrown at you of, well, it's only 15 years, right? Yeah. This is not the type of decision-making that you want to wander into. This is the type of the decision-making that you want to avoid at any cost, basically. This is where you have to go only if you're absolutely forced with no other options. If that's the only reason why you should end up here. So know what those limits are. Understand that you may have to cross them, but do it as an absolute last resort, and understand that you're going to be in for a ride.
Yeah, and you've said something in the past about the narrative of the story as this goes through the criminal justice system. I'm not even going to say trial, as it goes through the entire sequence of, responding officer, investigating officer, prosecutor, all of this stuff that's happening. They're building a narrative, and people can help that narrative along by having good training, by understanding what they're supposed to be doing, by having good education about the laws, knowing where they're at, and then acting as best they can within the bounds of what they understand. But truly, I want them to understand from the very beginning, not just assume. My uncle told me that I can shoot somebody if. I hate to hear that, but it is nuanced, and it is going to be something that, in this case, it's pretty clear. The guy is ripping apart someone's face. And sadly, in the case that we're referencing right now, which brought this to the fore, nobody was there to defend. Actually, the homeowner was attacked and suffered very serious eye and ear injuries from this attack. His wife came out to try to assist, and she suffered basically the same injuries. And the man was later arrested, probably within a couple of hours. But it took time for the ambulance to get there, the police to get there, for all of this to happen. And I kept thinking to myself, this is just one person who should have had a gun in Chicago to be able to defend himself against something like this. And that question pops up. Okay, then what happens? He's just shot an unarmed attacker. And
Right. And that's where the media, that's where, the narrative kind of writes itself oftentimes. And you know what? We can't control that. And I'm not trying to say that that's fair or right. I'm not trying to say anything about this is fair or right. Like, let's be clear. What I'm trying to do, though, is I'm trying to identify what the variables are in the landscape. And what I'm trying to do is to make sure that you understand what you need to be doing to make sure that you not only survive the incident, but also keep yourself on the right side of the law. And that's 2 words: education, training.
Yep, it all starts well before the incident happens. So thank you very much again for being here, Tom. Folks, thanks for staying all the way to the end of the video. As I said at the beginning, there is a gun giveaway right down below. Link in the description. Click on that link. It's going to be going away soon, but when you click on it, we'll tell you what kind of gun you can win. I'm Kevin Michalowski, Director of Content for the U.S. Concealed Carry Association. If you like these videos, subscribe to this page and click on that notification bell. We'll notify you every time we come out with a new video. Until then, stay safe.